Hey guys, what's up? Pixels here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over what survivor you should be buying first on Dead by Daylight. And this is a question I get asked a lot in my streams as well, so I thought I'd just do a video, go over some survivors that I think you should buy first, and show you a little bit of gameplay of their perks as well and how they work. And so basically I think at the start you only have you have Dwight, you have Meg, Claudette, Jake, Bill, Nia, David. I think they're the ones you start off with. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure it's roughly about that amount. And so my first suggestion that will always be, and I always say this to everyone that comes into my stream, if you're looking to buy a survivor, don't go by how they look. I mean, you can do that if you want, if you're not bothered about the perks and stuff like that, and maybe you bought some perks on the shrine that this survivor already has, and so you don't really need to buy them. But basically, if you want to succeed and get the best perks, then do it in this order, or at least somewhat similar to this order, and you'll do well, especially for being new to the game. So first off, I've obviously chosen Kate right here. Now Kate is literally the first one you should be buying straight away, mainly because of windows of opportunity. Now a lot of people who just start out in Dead by Daylight, they're not the greatest at looping the killer or anything like that. They may struggle to find where windows and pallets are on maps. They don't know how to identify certain tiles, like jungle gyms, T&L walls and stuff like that. So windows is literally the best perk for that. And it's probably the most handy perk, for new people in the game. I literally use this perk still as well. I mean, I'm pretty good at looping. I still just use this perk as well because it even just make if I'm having a day where I'm not really paying so much attention to where things are. Usually, if I am struggling to loop one day, everyone has off days, I'll put this perk on, and it's kind of just like a safety net type of thing. Like it's when you're working on a gen, you can identify where pallets are, where windows are. And, you can chain pallets together with this perk really well too. It's just a really good perk. It's probably like the best thing I can recommend that you do is buy Kate Denson. And she has Dance with Me as well, which is a fairly decent perk. And basically if you fast vault, you'll leave no scratch marks for 3 seconds, which is combined really well with the Meg Thomas perk that you potentially could have already, which is quick and quiet as well. So you can vault fast and quiet and leave no scratch marks as well. So it's kind of a nice way to stealthy get away from the killer. It's open to its chemistries with windows as well. Her other perk is Boil Over. Boil Over, basically the struggling effects are increased by 75%, so it makes the killer kind of bump into objects a lot easier. It's not a great perk. I mean, it does hide hook ores within 14 meters, but most killers, especially at my level, kind of just know where hooks are. They'll pay attention to where they've downed someone. They're like, oh yeah, there's a hook just to my right or to my left or whatever behind me. So Boil Over doesn't really get used that much, and I mean, 2 out of 3 perks is really good. And like I said, you really should go for Kate, and just because of windows of opportunity alone. So moving on, my next survivor I will suggest is Feng. Now most people will have Feng already. So the reason I chose Feng as my second one is because of Life and Alert, and these are really great perks as well. Technician is okay, I guess, especially for new people who are going to be missing skill checks. Now Technician basically reduces the noises of repairing a generator, and the generator won't explode if you miss a skill check as well. So if you're struggling to hit skill checks, then you'll have this perk on Feng to use if you find yourself struggling with that. I mean, it's not great. Even if you miss the skill check, you only lose 3% progress, which it's fair enough. But yeah, I would say Alert and Life are probably her best perks. I kind of like Alert more than Life because it shows you where the killer's aura is and mid chase when they're breaking pallets and stuff, or hitting generators or breaking through walls. It's a really handy perk, and it's very underrated, especially for looping builds. But I do like that, and Life as well is great. Basically it's if you fast vault, you get away from the killer pretty fast. It's a decent exhaustion perk. I wouldn't put it up there as the best exhaustion perk, because in my opinion that'll always be Balanced Landing over Dead Hard, because Dead Hard has its moments, but I think balanced landing is really great for extending chases a lot more than Dead Hard is. But that's just my opinion. That's my type of play style. And so with that, the next survivor I recommend that you get is Felix. And probably thinking, why Felix? And it's mainly because of this perk here, Desperate Measures. So Desperate Measures is a great perk. So for each injured, hooked, or dying survivor, increase your speed of healing and unhook actions by 14%. So that goes up to a maximum of 56%, I think it is. Which is awesome because, you know, it's very handy. You have no idea how good it is against camp and killers. And the amount of times this perk has clutched for me with Borrowed Time is unreal. And most people, you know, if you are starting out and you've played some Bill and you've got Bill leveled up, you'll have Borrowed Time being able to, you know, get him on Felix as well. So Borrowed Time's great to combine with Desperate Measures. Even so, it's just great for healing and, you know, clutching, getting people off the ground. It's just, it's probably the most, like, underrated perk that's out there right now. You don't see a lot of people using it, and I don't understand why, because the amount of slugging and camping that goes on these days, like, you kind of need Desperate Measures somewhere in your build. You know, you try and put it in there, it's going to be really good. His other two perks, however, are fairly decent, especially for new people. Now, Visionary's great for identifying where generators are, so you can run around the map, basically just, you know, focusing on generators. And if you want to just focus on generators, you know, you can combine that with a toolbox, and then Streetwise if you've got Nia leveled up. So then you can, you know, basically just run around the map and, you know, focus on generators with a stacked toolbox. And on top of that, it gets even better. He has another perk called Built to Last, which means if you hide in a locker after you've fully depleted your item for 12 seconds, you'll get 99% of its charge back. And each time, you basically can do it for about, I think it's 3 times. So it goes 99%, 66%, and then 33%. So you can do it 3 times, and, you know, you can get some use back out of your item that you've already used. And so yeah, like I said, Felix is a good survivor to go for if you are looking at buying some new survivors. Next, I'm going to go with Jill Valentine. Now, the reason I picked Jill is she actually has some really handy perks, especially all 3 perks are really handy too. Counterforce is great for basically doing totems, so you'll have small game. What small game is, it'll give an audible chime where totems are, and how it'll also show you with numbers on the perk itself how many totems are left in the game. Sorry, how many totems have been cleansed. So there's a total of 5 totems in every game, and it'll tally up every time a totem has been cleansed up to 5. But basically, the more totems that you cleanse, the faster Counterforce gets, which is really awesome. There's 20% stackable speed bonus every time cleansing a totem, and with there's actually a new hex in play from the new killer, and she can rebuild totems, so it kind of makes sense to have Counterforce. And I was actually running this last week when like everyone was playing as the artist against that hex perk. I was like instantly breaking totems when she was rebuilding them. It was crazy how, like, just because I cleansed about, you know, 8 totems in that time, and it's just instantly breaking them. But anyways, I'm going a bit off track here. Counterforce is a great perk. It'll work well with small game as well. If you want to focus on, you know, the totem side of gameplays of this game, then, you know, go for it. Resurgence is also good. So when you get unhooked, you'll automatically get 50% of your healing already. You know, just combine that with a green medkit or just even a brown medkit. And, you know, if you find the time, you know, it's only going to take about roughly 3 or 4 seconds to get fully healed back up. Like, it's just instant. So, Resurgence is actually really good, and it's another looked over perk. I mean, in my opinion, I'd rather have Resurgence on than Decisive Strike any day. Just because if I can get the time, like, usually I can handle myself in a chase to buy enough time to get fully healed up with Resurgence as well. The only problem downside with Resurgence is it disappears after, you know, if you get unhooked with Borrowed Time and you get hit, you get put in the mend state. So basically you'll have to mend yourself, and your healing amount disappears, which I wish it just kind of ignored it. So, you know, if you got hit and put in the mend state, basically you'll have your Resurgence back. I think that would be the better thing for it. But still, it's a great perk, especially if, like, the killer's not camping you or anything. You know, you just get healed, and it'll save a lot of time. The third perk is Blast Mine. Now, Blast Mine's actually a really fun perk. You know, if you find yourself doing a lot of generators, you know, you can just put this Blast Mine on it, you know, you just have to repair a total of 66% of the generator, and you hit the, you know, the action button, you put a blast mine on it, so if the killer comes over and kicks the gen, they get stunned for a brief period. So it's another fun perk. You know, if you're new and you're looking to buy a new survivors, Jill's really good, and she will work well with some Dwight perks as well. So if you've got Dwight leveled up, then with blast mine, then you can, you know, focus on gens with bond, improve thyself, blast mine. You know, you can, there's potential builds there that work really well with the base characters as well. And now the next survivor I'm going to suggest is Moira Reid. So Moira has Boon Shadow Step, which hides your aura and your scratch marks from the killer, which is really handy if you are in the radius. And also Boon Circle of Healing, so you can basically heal yourself, you can heal others faster as well if you're in the radius of the totem. So basically what you do is you just bless a totem, and I combine this with small game a lot so I can see where totems are on the map. So then I can bless the totem, I can put both of my boon perks on the totem at the same time, so then the killer can't see me healing if they're running Nurse's Calling, they can't see my scratch marks, and I can also heal myself. It's kind of ridiculous. And it's not only that, it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits the whole team as well. So even if they're not running this perk or this perk, they will still get the benefits from it as well, as long as they're in your boon totem radius. So I kind of put her up there as one of the, you know, more important survivors that you do purchase on Dead by Daylight. And, you know, you should prioritize getting her as well. It was very difficult to decide who to pick first, but like I said, I think what people struggle with the most when they first start out with Dead by Daylight is Lupin, and that's why I suggest as Kate as my #1 survivor to purchase. Alright, last but not least, this is the last one I'm going to suggest that you buy for perks, and that is Tap. And the reason I picked Tap is because of Detective's Hunch. Detective's Hunch is a great way to learn maps. And, you know, maybe people just say, oh, it's just a totem perk, you know, you're finding totems, you know, the hex totems, like, that's all it's there for, just to counter that. Those people are totally wrong. Like, this perk is designed for learning maps more than anything. So all you do is you complete a generator in a 64-meter range. Basically everything gets revealed to you for 10 seconds. So, you know, it's auras of generators, chests, and totems. And the best thing about this is if you have a map, sadly I don't have one so I can't really show you. So if you put a map on as your item, basically all the stuff that you've got from that aura reading from Detective's Hunch will get saved onto your map indefinitely. So you can just run around, you can use the map to keep on displaying where everything is. And what this actually does is it actually helps you learn where totem spawns are, because like in a lot of maps there's not much of a variety of totem spawns, and basically, you know, totems will move around, but they will more than likely spawn in these similar areas every time. So it's a great way for learning where totems spawn, in which case you'll never have to actually run Detective's Hunch because you're familiar to where they're spawning, in case you do need to make a hex cleanse or something like that. And not only that, it's great for indoor maps, you know, like RPD. A lot of people hate RPD. I don't know why. It's probably one of the best maps in the game if you do learn it. And the way I learned RPD was basically using Detective's Hunch with Windows. And I learned where these totem spawns were. Like, there's a Stars Office totem that pretty much always spawns when you play on it. You learn where the generators are. I know RPD is very difficult to discover where generators are. So using this perk, I was actually able, you know, once the generator was done, I was actually able to learn where most generator spawns are as well. So yeah, it's a very underrated perk, and a lot of people probably just look over it and just think, oh yeah, you're never going to fit this into your build. Well, you know, it's probably one of the most handy perks in the game, and people, like I said, people just look way over it. And this next perk I'm going to suggest is Tenacity. And now the reason I say like Tenacity is because you probably have Bill leveled up at some degree, and he has Unbreakable. And so basically Tenacity, you can crawl while like you can crawl 50% faster whilst also recovering at the same time, which is great because if you combine that with Unbreakable, you can get up off the floor a lot easier as well, or you can crawl to a pallet a lot easier to delay the killer from picking you up, and, you know, wasting a lot of the killer's time basically, which you'll probably see in some gameplay that I'm showing right now. His last perk is Stakeout. it's not a bad perk, but basically, for each 15 seconds you're standing in the killer's tower radius, and you're not in a chase, you'll gain a token. Or sorry, you'll gain a token up to a maximum of 4 tokens. And basically, you won't have to hit a great skill check. You just hit a normal skill check, which classes as a great skill check, and will give you a 1% bonus generator repairs progress. I mean, it's not a greatest perk. I think it probably needs buffed to the degree of where, like, you know, maybe you get more than 1% bonus instead of it doing it like that. But yeah, it's an okay perk. I wouldn't recommend it putting into your builds really, but these 2 perks are really handy. Alright, so I know this was kind of a long-winded video, but those are the survivors that I highly recommend that you do purchase first. So once again, we got Kate Denson, great, you know, for learning your loops. We got Feng. Feng's great, you know, she has alert, she has life. Probably one of the, you know, more popular perks around Dead by Daylight. We have Felix. Again, Felix is good for beginners. Really good beginner character that you should purchase to get his perks. Jill, also great. And Moira Reid. And last but not least, Detective Tap. Those are the ones that you need to focus on probably buying the most. You know, if you can't afford the licensed ones, because I know the licensed ones you can only get what Oryx sells. You know, the first like 3 or 4 that I suggested, you can pretty much buy with shards. Other than Jill and Tap, you can get the rest with shards, which is awesome. Who I recommend that you kind of stay away from buying till last. I mean, I hate to say it. Don't buy Ash unless you like the character. His perks are, you know, they struggle with chemistry, and you kind of have to go out your way quite a lot, you know, to get use out of his perks, which does suck because, you know, I'm an Ash main. I play so many hours a day as Ash on Dead by Daylight, and it's, you know, it kills me to say it, but just don't, if you're going for perks rather than how the character looks, you know, do not purchase Ash until, you know, you're ready. You know, if you've got everyone else already bought. He's probably the only one I'd say not to buy. Just, you know, I mean, Flip-Flop's okay, and Buckle Up you'll never get any use out of, really. Metal Man. Now, I'll go over Metal Man. Metal Man, basically, you have to take protection hits, and the only way you can take protection hits is if someone's injured next to you, and you have to do this 3 times, which is, you know, it's quite a lot, and it's a lot of time consuming, you know, taking 3 hits as well as healing yourself up as well. You know, it can be quite fun and rewarding doing a Metal of Man play, but, you know, it's just, all that time you spent doing that, you could have been doing a gen or something else, or, you know, unhooking someone, or, you know, distracting the killer. Just, yeah, just, I hate to say it, but just buy Ash last. And, you know, most other survivors are great that you can buy. You can't purchase Steve and Nancy anymore. They've been removed, sadly, because of licensing. But, you know, like, Adam's got some good perks. Quentin's even got some decent perks. Jeff's 3 perks you'll actually get some use out of. Jane's kind of mediocre. I wouldn't recommend her that much because you'll only really want to use Head On, and Head On is just, it's kind of a perk that just says I'm sort of ready to just irritate the killer and to die. Yui's also great. You know, she has Lucky Break, any means necessary breakout. I mean, I could go into depth for all these survivors, but you basically just want to focus on the ones that I've highlighted, and you want to get those bought straight away as much, you know, fast as you can, basically. So yeah, I know this was a long-winded video, but I hope this did help you guys out. And if you have any questions, or if you're thinking about buying someone you want to ask first, you know, before you buy them, leave me a comment down below, and I will get back to you guys with that. And yeah, if you are new, hit that sub button. I do stream this game quite a lot, Monday to Thursday on this channel, so you don't have to go anywhere else for more Dead by Daylight content. And hit the like button if you liked the video, because it really helps me out, and it lets me know if you guys want to see more of these, you know, like in-depth tip videos, I guess you could say. This is what they are. And, you know, I was kind of just winging this, you know, I don't have a script or anything to follow. I just, you know, I'm just going off the top of my head, basically, and You know, I've got a lot of experience in Dead by Daylight. You know, I've got over 3,000 hours. But yeah, like I said, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think and who you would personally buy first, or you know, who did you buy first on Dead by Daylight? Let me know down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixels. You're my awesome viewers, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.